a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rimes.
Hey, and welcome to the show. Thanks for spending some time with us here. We're happy and grateful and blessed and highly favored here in studio. Consumer Quarterback Show powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We got Mark Haye in the house, financial advising expert contributor. We're going to talk with him about the pros and cons of real estate in a retirement account, or maybe on the outside of a retirement account. How would you? What's the pros and cons here? We're going to talk with him as well. Coming up, also Fred Muth in studio with us, back in studio. Tampa Bay screens, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Tampa Screens going to come in. We're going to talk contracting with Fred as well. And we always like to feature our real estate listings. We've got some great opportunities here in Tampa Bay. 1905 Masters Way in Plant City is one of our newest listings. This one just hit the market in Plant City. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2-car garage, 3,000 square foot, and 0.38 acre lot with no backyard neighbors. Double door entry, etched glass inserts, Florida room, expansive windows, split floor plan. Great opportunity to own real estate. And Walden Lakes has a lot of amenities. Beautiful community here. Walking trails, dog park, playground, sports complex. And also you can access the lake for non-motorized vehicles. 1905 Masters Way in Plant City. A gorgeous real estate listing from the Platinum MVP team. Great opportunity to own real estate right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Also 221 Howard Drive. This one on Howard Drive is one of my favorites. It's a $3 million listing, compliments of Aaron Foley from our team. 5 bedrooms, 3 bath, 3,500 square foot, single family home. It's an exclusive Bel Air Beach location. Gorgeous 3-island kitchen with Thermador appliances, saltwater pool, 100 feet of water frontage. Bring your boats, bring your jet skis, and you're 1 block to the beach. 221 Howard Drive, Bel Air Beach, Florida. And you can see all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.kw.com. That's right. A quick shout out to our friend over at Heights Soft Wash, pressure washing company here in Tampa Bay. Heights Soft Wash, the owner is a super nice guy, does a great job. He's cleaned my real estate properties for many years now. HeightsSoftWash.com. HeightsSoftWash.com. Let him know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, we got Mark Haye in studio with us. Mark, I grabbed a couple of headlines here too. Off of my LinkedIn feed. Visa may face antitrust lawsuit is a story I looked at. Also, Kmart's last U.S. store shutting down. Did you see that one in Miami?
I didn't see it, but sad to see it go. I remember how big was Kmart when we were kids.
Blue Light Special.
So yeah, Sears, Kmart, all that stuff. They're all gone.
Yeah.
And they used to go there all the time and go shopping.
The catalogs. I remember seeing the catalogs back in the day.
Yeah, they come in the mail. They get the big old mail catalogs. But yeah, it's just, I think Amazon has a lot to do with all that.
That's right.
Because they can cut everything as far as costs. You have a big store like Kmart. We talk about all the time. That expense is very expensive to do something like that.
Yeah, the merchandising. That's another store. Remember Service Merchandise?
Oh yeah,
that was
absolutely.
They had the conveyor belt. They'd pump out the stuff.
Yeah, I think Home Depot and I think like those Lowe's, those big companies with those big rent. I mean, they'll be fine because you have to have some kind of a storefront.
Yeah.
But these other ones like Kmart, stuff like that, I just don't know how they're going to do it, how they're going to keep competing. Like obviously Kmart's not, but whoever else is left, how do you compete with no rent? Right. You know what I mean? Because Amazon basically has no rent.
Yeah, they're just shipping stuff so fast. If you were to buy or invest in, this is kind of an interesting thing to think about. How much cardboard boxes do we go through as Americans, right? Was there a company you could have invested in 5 years ago and say, man, I'm investing in cardboard?
And isn't it crazy? Like anytime you do not need a box, there's boxes everywhere. Mm-hmm. As soon as you start needing boxes, like you can't find boxes anywhere and they're so expensive. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
You got to pay for a box.
It's just like dirt. Dirt is very cheap until you need it. And then it's expensive. You know what I mean?
You got to have a pool builder as a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, next pool job you do, can you dump some dirt on my lot over here?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah, you get those pool builders, and they're always looking for places to dump dirt.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
yeah.
But that's a little kind of interesting. So, but the point being is that look, our markets are shifting. Almost any type of market you look at, and of course, you can go into the auto industry. They want to ship jobs over to China, where there's more exports of the real dirty business. They're exporting, pulling up all those precious minerals and things that are required to build batteries. So every market is changing and turning. What do we do with our hard-earned money? That's the question I think people have on their minds, right? Is that's your daily consideration, is how to protect people's money.
Yeah, and I think that, just talking about Amazon, Kmart, and everything else, now is a really good opportunity, this day and age we live in, to be an entrepreneur and a business owner. There's so many opportunities where you could sit at home and create a business, whether it's by selling on Amazon. There's a lot of people that will just go buy in bulk and sell it individually on Amazon, and there's a little business, and Amazon does everything, takes their cut, but there's so much opportunity to go out and just be an entrepreneur. And we talked about it last week together, just being an entrepreneur, and we had a guest in here, Jackie Z, and it was good conversation, but there is really good opportunities now to just do that. Yeah,
and you couldn't. And another main point too is you couldn't do that in the 80s.
30 years from now,
you had to do it while the daylight was out, and you had to put it together, and you had to ship.
You had to have a storefront.
Yeah,
otherwise, how do you get your merchandise out there? There's no internet. You know what I mean? It's in phones. There's no cell phone. I mean, obviously, if you had a lot of money and you could afford 20 minutes a month, you would have your cell phone in a bag.
Yeah, big one.
Yeah, but I remember, my father and stuff going in his office. He's an advisor, been an advisor for 40 plus years. Go into his office and they have little notes, people that called. You know what I mean? And you have to call them back. It was just things took longer. But if you didn't have storefront, you didn't really have a business because you couldn't really get it out. Where today, you don't even need a storefront. People work from home. You don't even need a storefront. You can be on the internet. So it's just an unbelievable opportunity in this day and age just to be an entrepreneur or have a side hustle and have your W-2, but do a side hustle. You know what I mean? Like we talk about.
Because that's your tax advantage is what your main point when you say, hey, look, if you're W-2, you've got to start a side company.
Yeah, if you're W-2, you're paying the most amount of taxes of anybody. It's a terrible situation to be in. And then that kind of leads in what we were talking about today, real estate. If you put real estate in a retirement plan or out of a retirement plan, and what's the advantages of both? Well, let's just keep it outside of the retirement plan, what we're talking about. If people say, I'm a high-end W-2 earner and we need something to offset these taxes and we want to do a business, but we really don't know what to do. Well, let's get a piece of real estate, put it inside an LLC, and there's your business. Yep. Well, what do you mean? Well, you can have an Airbnb, you can have rental, you can do whatever you want, but you take advantage of the tax code. Now you can deduct in a home office and cell phone and car, and you can take trips with your spouse because all of a sudden now you got to have a trip for your business, and you got to plan for the year ahead and a meeting of the minds, and so you can unwrap the tax code just doing that. You don't need to develop a product or do anything other than let's just go buy a piece of rental property, and you can use the bank to do that, and you can have the renters pay the mortgage, and you could take advantage of the tax code doing that. Now, there's a lot of pros and cons that come with it. So for example, the pros are to take depreciation on the property, and that's just a non-cash loss against your income. So if you had a $500,000 piece of property and you want to depreciate over 27 years, it's $18,700 a year that you could take off of your income. Not to mention you can deduct, like we talked about, home office, cell phone, trips, travel, car, etc. on that, utilities, and so you get to unlock the tax code. Now there are some cons that come along with that. You know what I mean? Like if something goes wrong, it's coming out of your pocket. If a water main breaks or a hurricane comes through or tornado or whatever, you're going to have to pay for that out of pocket or hopefully have a reserve, as a business to maintain that. But the pros are so astronomical outside of a retirement plan, and especially for W-2 employees.
Yeah. And you have to do everything you can today to have a strategic advantage because we as we talked about in yesterday's show, we're talking about health and nutrition and the federal government. We know the federal government is not going to come and bail us out. And by the matter of fact, a lot of people are doubting if the federal government is even going to be able to fulfill their obligations to Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, right, Mark?
Yeah, we know that less than 8 years, all that's bankrupt. Yeah. There is no money. So we're looking at 2030 or 2031. Those three things don't even have the money to even operate. So whoever becomes president this term or even the next term, someone's going to have to get serious on this stuff because there is no more money, and they've been tap it into that, just pay other things and send it to Ukraine or whatever. Yep. But my point is, there is no money, and people think the government's going to come and bail them out. I mean, come on, that's not really a plan. Where I've always loved real estate just because you can control that. You can buy a property that's distressed, and you can put in your own sweat equity into that thing. New paint, do some landscaping, put in some new tile, whatever. You can improve that, and all of a sudden now you got equity in there. You can rent it. Now you're cash flowing that thing, and hopefully you can develop enough cash flow to pay your bills and then your income on top of that. So it starts snowballing pretty fast. But I've always liked real estate as the investment, just because you get so many advantages, but not to mention the tax code and the tax havens of all that.
Insurable asset. You have, by the way, you have to live somewhere. I mean, people have to live somewhere, so it's a need. It's an actual need. And the advantages are there. I mean, they're huge when you look at the appreciation. You look at the ability to, at some point, hey, let me just draw a loan on this. Maybe my other business's cash flow is a little slow, so I'll pull out a home equity line. I'll pull a couple $100,000 out of this one, or maybe $50,000 out of that one, and then so it gives you that flexibility as well, Mark.
Right. I mean, and that's why people always like, well, I'm going to sell this rental property for what? I mean, if you take a loan on that property, a loan's tax free.
Yep.
So you can, like you said, take $100,000 or $200,000 out of that, take it tax free. The renter pays the mortgage. If you sell it, you're paying capital gains. Right now it's at 15 or even 20%. The new president that wants to come in, that's the vice president currently, she wants to take that up to 30, 40% capital gains, which is insane. Okay, well, let's say you do a 40% capital gains and you sell that, that's a huge hit. Whereas if you just keep it and loan a line of credit out and just have the renters pay it, you get it tax free.
And on that topic too, this whole ideal around unrealized gains is just so far out there. It's just it's something exactly that a San Francisco politician could only think of. Right?
Well, let's talk about
no
it.
Business. They have. Well, my point is they have no actual business as a self-employed person. They never ran a business. They're one of these organizers. All they've done their whole entire life has been a cheerleader on the sideline for whoever was in front of them, and they're organizing. That's all they're doing. They have no clue. They only have the Marxist talking points. And then here's O'Leary talking about it.
Kevin, since you brought that up, she's calling it price gouging, price controls, price fixing, whatever it is. I'm wondering why we aren't hearing more business leaders, more grocery store operators coming out and saying this plan is crazy, it doesn't work. Why are we hearing more of them push back on this?
Oh, they're coming. Don't worry. There's a lot of narrative going on in the background waiting for Labor Day to pass. This policy, the best way to describe it, is un-American.
Un-American, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't think people quite understand what it means, the tax unrealized gains.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about real estate, so it's a good topic to bring it up. Let's just use simple numbers. Let's say you bought a house for $100,000, okay? And in 1 year, the government now decides that you have $50,000 of gains in there, right? So now it's worth $150,000. You're going to owe 20% on that $50,000. So you owe $10,000 in taxes for owning that property, right?
Yeah.
Let's say year 2 comes and it grows another $50,000. Now it's worth $200,000.
Yep.
You have to pay taxes on $100,000. You don't get you've already paid the unrealized gains on the 50. No, you start all over again.
Wow.
So the next year you owe 20% on $100,000. Now you owe $20,000.
Yep.
In that second year. So you've paid a total of $30,000 in 2 years to own that piece of real estate. Who in their right mind is going to own?
Yeah.
Just
what? And think about this too, Mark. By the way, if you just joined us, Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial. I'm Brandon BRimes, host of the show. When you think about those unrealized gains, think about the disincentivation, and then also a Mar-a-Lago. When you have the Mar-a-Lago, they wanted to suppress the value for Trump, saying it was only worth $18 million or something when it's valued in the billions. A property like that. Think about what they can do with that.
Well, yeah, I mean now the numbers are getting bigger.
Yeah.
But let's stay on this small thing, $100,000 to $200,000. And now all of a sudden you owe $20,000 in taxes. If that owner is renting it, he's not eating those taxes. Guess what's going to happen to your rent?
Yep.
The rent's going to double because they're not going to eat $20,000 in taxes on top of utilities and property taxes and insurance and everything else.
Yep.
So they're just going to raise rent. You think rent is high now? Tax unrealized gains and see what's going to be in a year or two. It's going to be insanity. And people think that, we're just going to tax the rich. It trickles down. Yep. You know what I mean? So if you want to tax the rich, that's fine. Do that. Yep. But the dumbest business owner is smarter than the smartest politician, and they're going to figure out legally how they're not going to pay that. They're going to pass it to the W-2 employee or the renter or whatever else, and they're going to pay that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And unfortunately, they suffer that.
And then the worst case scenario plays out. You have another Amazon street. You see those Amazon or not Amazon, where the zombies in the street of California and San Francisco. There's zombies in the street, like literally bent over from the drugs. That's what will happen. You'll force people into being homeless. Drugs are going to be, giving up on life and shooting themselves up with all types of bad drugs. But so these bad decisions and these talking points, and the fact that she's being embedded or basically abetted by our governments, our military, or the media. It's just terrible.
And like we talked about with Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, those three things are basically bankrupt. That's hundreds of billions of dollars that needs to be funded.
Right.
Well, they're going to tax everything.
Yep.
We come on here all the time talking about how to save money in taxes today, tomorrow, retirement, and we preach on it all the time. But they're coming.
Yep.
It's going to be income tax. It's going to be unrealized gains tax. It's going to be tax on your retirement plans. It's going to be tax on anything and everything they can do because there's such a big gap right now.
Yep.
And what are we at? $32 trillion just on our debt alone right now, and it's growing and growing and growing. I mean, it's insanity. I hope that doesn't happen. But if it does, I don't know. Even myself owning real estate. I can't. I'm not going to pay 20% of unrealized gains. And especially in Florida in the last 5-10 years, if that would have happened in the last 5 years, Florida's doubled, tripled in real estate in the last 5-10 years. Now all of a sudden I'm paying double, triple, taxes every single year. That's insane.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Going to leave it there. Come back more with Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Follow us online. We'd love to connect with you. We'll be right back. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider who shares your values. They offer the very best nationwide coverage on 4G and 5G LTE networks and exceptional 100% US-based customer support. Patriot Mobile offers discounts for veterans and first responders, NRA members, and families with multiple lines. Learn more at patriotmobile.com/consumerqb. That's patriotmobile.com/consumerqb. Or if you'd like to give us a call, you can reach out at 727-263-3707. That's 727-263-3707. And we'd be happy to tell you more about Patriot Mobile.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
Lindsay Rhymes here with Archer Place in Gainesville, Florida. Our luxury condo community is located only 1.5 miles from the University of Florida, 5 minutes to Shands Medical and Butler Plaza. Our buyers love the high-end luxury amenities in their building, including a state-of-the-art fitness facility equipped with Pelotons, the resort-style temperature-controlled pool accompanied with cabanas and grills, and the gourmet chef's kitchen in our clubhouse that overlooks the pool. We have pre-construction pricing only for a limited time, with floor plans ranging from a 1-bedroom, 1-bath to 2-floor penthouses with plunge pools. Starting in the low 400,000s to the high 900s, investors, parents sending their young adults off to school, medical professionals, business owners, and entrepreneurs alike are investing in these residences. Reach out to us today at 727-263-3707 to get more information.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, Brandon Rhymes here. I got to tell you about Brio Tuscan Grill, International Plaza Mall. You talk about excellent food, a very friendly staff, awesome ambiance. I mean, they do catering. They have events there as well. There's a whole upstairs area inside Brio that people don't even realize is there. You can host your holiday events there. They've got happy hours going on daily. Brio Tuscan Grill. longtime friend of the Consumer Quarterback Show. And Joey, the general manager, is just a super nice guy. Great job over there running that team, as well as Chef Oscar Ramirez. Wow, you talk about a talented chef, Oscar Ramirez. Brio Tuscan Grill, International Plaza Mall. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on that free offer for a free appetizer. And they'll also hook you up with a free water with lemon every time. They give me one. I mean, you get. We'll see. I mean, you go in there and they'll probably give you one. All right, Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial, in studio with us. Coming up, Fred Muth, Tampa Screens as well. Want to let you know about one of our listings here. We got a property on Skybird. This one's 7325 Skybird, and it's in Manatee County, Bradenton. So we've got quite a large coverage area with the Platinum MVP team. State of Florida, we do deals out of state as well. But this one's down in Bradenton. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, 1-car garage, 7325 Skybird Road, number 399. Open floor plan, 15-20 square foot condo with lake views. You also have 81-foot lagoon-style heated community pool, clubhouse with fitness center, catering kitchen. Beautiful property. Close to the beaches as well. Downtown Riverwalk, 7325 Skybird Road, number 399 in Bradenton, Florida. Check out that property, as well as 2790 Pinellas Point. This one on Pinellas Point, owners motivated. We just did a price improvement here. 2790 Pinellas Point, 3 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2236 square feet. Culinary enthusiasts will delight in this fully renovated kitchen. You have an open floor plan, beautiful serene gazebo, enticing jacuzzi, porcelain tile flooring as well, and great opportunity with solar panels to reduce your electrical costs. 2790 Pinellas Point Drive South, St. Petersburg, Florida. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial. Bring it all together, Mark. We've covered a lot of territory here. Bring us home. Final thoughts.
So we talked about real estate outside the retirement plan. Put it in a retirement plan. Now you're in a tax-deferred vehicle. And we talked about unrealized taxable gains, so you wouldn't have to worry about any of that stuff.
Right.
So when you go and buy or sell a property inside of your IRA or Roth IRA, it's tax deferred. There's no capital gains. You put the rent inside there. There's no taxes on that rent. You defer it, and so there's a really good advantage inside of that retirement plan. The only disadvantage is you can't have any write-offs for that property. You can't depreciate that property because it's inside a retirement plan. So there's pros and cons.
Okay.
And there's and I have one in my IRA and I have one outside the IRA. So I mean I just like real estate, but it does have pros and cons to have inside of a retirement plan and outside. And it just fits whoever it needs to fit. Everybody's different.
What's your thinking on that? Are you looking at are you analyzing each individual property to say, hey, this one would do better, perform better inside an IRA?
I just look at how much liquid cash you got available inside an IRA, and let's see if we can find something, and let's make that in your investment instead of Wall Street, and we can control that. We can't control Wall Street.
Yeah.
If you're a young person like us, all that rent goes in. We can't touch it. So if you're looking to cash flow inside, with real estate, inside retirement plan is not going to work unless you're 59 and a half or older. You know what I mean? Because you can't touch that money to 59 and a half, otherwise there are penalty, taxes, etc.
Okay.
So if you're trying to cash flow, then it's not going to be in a retirement plan. It's going to be outside of it.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because you got to pull that cash out and pay the mortgage.
You got it. Whereas the IRA, all the rental goes back into it, all the appreciation, all of your, if you sell it and buy something new, there's no taxes, no capital gains.
Yep.
You're not paying taxes on the rent. You're doing nothing. But if you want a cash flow today, then it's not going to go in a retirement plan.
There you go. So reach out. We'd love to have you, have a conversation with Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial, about this idea or any other. 727-263-3707. Buying real estate inside of an IRA, outside of an IRA. 727-263-3707. Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group. MarkHaye.com. Also, he's got his book out there as well. And you can check out his book as well. Where at?
Yep, you just go to my website. It's markhaye.com. That's all it is.
Markhaye.com. All right, good stuff. Mark, thanks again.
Thank you.
My pleasure. All right, taking a quick break. Coming back, we got Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Also, feel-good story of the day. Counting on fingers really helps kids improve their math skills by 40%. New study just came out. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show.
All right, BRimes back here in studio. Consumer Quarterback Show, always helping you win in any marketplace. And we got Fred Muth back in studio with us, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Looking forward to have a conversation with him. We're going to talk about construction business, of course, the beautiful in-between spaces we call with his Tampa Screens and Aluminum. They can build those beautiful screened-in rooms around your pool, your patio, your lanai, your back porch. We're going to talk with him here in just a minute. We might even get into a little bit of music and guitar, classic cars and all that good stuff as well, coming up here on the program. Before we do, a couple of hot listings here. Now, we always like to feature our real estate properties live on air. It's part of a strategy that helps our sellers sell faster for more money. We got a new listing here at 12255 North US Highway 27. This one's in Ocala, Florida. We've got some land available here. Owners motivated at 12255 North Highway 27, Ocala, Florida. Beautiful green day with that photography from Fabre Frameworks. If you look at that beautiful land, 3 acres of vacant land, zone A1, build your dream home or establish a world-class horse farm. Great opportunity to own real estate. You're close to the prestigious Golden Ocala Country Club, just around the corner. Great opportunity to own real estate right there on Highway 27 in Ocala, Florida. Buy some dirt from us. We'd love to sell you some real estate here in Tampa Bay. Commercial properties, residential, or vacant land. Property on Gulf Boulevard is always a good go-to as well right here in Tampa Bay. I love this property. This one is a beachfront condo, 3 bedrooms, 3 bath, 2,000 square feet. Beachfront condo, Indian Shores. This is beautiful Pinellas County right here in Tampa Bay. 18522 Gulf Boulevard, Unit F, Indian Shores, Florida. Multiple balconies. You look out to the right, you're looking at the Intercoastal Waterway passing by, boats passing by. You look out to the left, and you're going to see the beaches there, the sugar sand beaches and dolphin-filled waters of Pinellas County. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Buy dirt, find the one you can't live without.
All right, Fred Muth, welcome back, sir. Tampa Screens and Aluminum.
Well, thank you. I really miss coming in the studio. And I said this several times as I was working remotely. The nervous energy of when you walk into the studio.
I love it.
There's a heck of a benefit for that. And I like it. I feed off it.
Yeah, it's a great setup, too. It's been a little while. We got Alex right here, too. Alex BlackBelt Lima to my left. So, Alex chimes in. We'll have a little bit more of conversational topics as well. There's specific topics we get very conversational.
I know him.
You look very familiar.
I've seen you before.
Me and Brandon were just discussing the other day, actually yesterday, and you messaged me, and I had talked to you about it before, but we're looking at maybe doing a consumer quarterback show like gala, like an award ceremony.
Well, that'd be great.
And you being essentially, one of the oldest, or I shouldn't say oldest, I apologize.
That's okay. I'll take it any way I can get it.
Being the legend that you are.
The legend. Okay.
I imagine that there's some kind of plaque or something with your name on it, buddy.
I would think so.
You have this like Johnny Cash about to take the stage type energy to you that we have to award.
Wow.
Man.
Hey, did you ever play any Johnny Cash?
I love Johnny Cash. I'm a big Johnny Cash fan.
Good stuff.
Yeah, going down to Folsom Prison. Going around.
But I like this idea. All right, let's kick it around. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it'd be a good time. We should definitely set that up.
Sure.
I love it.
Anyhow, patios, screens, pool enclosures. It's, Tampa Screens has been around since 1989. I started with them in 2010. I worked for their friendly competitor from 1992 to 2010. And the guys that owned that company, they retired. And I just went over to Tampa Screens. Nothing changed. And, they were, in other words, I wasn't looking for somebody. I knew where to go based on the reputation. And in fact, I took a couple of people with me from the other company. So the people that work there are so dedicated to making things work correctly and customer service. And the majority of the people that have been there for quite some time. And that tells you something about a company.
The longevity.
Absolutely. They're not everybody's looking to go somewhere else. The problems that come across the plate in the construction business are resolved as fast as you can imagine. There's a girl in our office named Diana. I always speak about her.
Yep.
There's nothing comes across her plate that she can't handle. She puts a fire out real quick, as fast as it starts. And that's very important for a guy like me who's out there soliciting for the company. And I sell a lot with the company.
Well, it's true. When you're in sales, me being the originator, the rainmaker, right? You're in sales and you're out there working hard. It is paramount to have that operations team, that processing, that transaction coordinator is a term we use in our business. It's of utmost importance to have people like that have your back. Otherwise, us salesmen and women out there in the field, we would not be doing, volume or any kind of, sales that we would be without, had we not had that support.
Oh, yeah. And your team, I'm very familiar with your team. As a matter of fact, you guys handled one of my sales.
Yeah.
And plus, I referred you so many times.
I appreciate that.
Everybody was happy. So that says a lot for what you do as well.
Appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely. And, we take great pride in that. And one of the things we do with our team also is we have a lot of admin staff. We have administration staff, personal assistants, virtual partners that are, of course, working virtually. We have on-hand office management. So, yeah, we have a high-touch system. And that way, one of the main things I like, and especially here's where it comes back to, is when I teach these classes at the realtor boards or either in Keller Williams offices, I'll teach classes there, win with sellers or negotiation strategy, things like that. It comes down to, the strategy of every single time I talk to a client, I want them to know what the feedback is. I want them to be aware of the situation with their real estate deals, because a lot of them, the number one feedback we get is, hey, this last listing agent took my listing and I never heard back from him. I don't even know if we had showings. I didn't get any offers.
And that's a common problem.
I've
experienced that because I carry a license and I did some real estate at one time, and I heard that so often.
Yeah.
How can they not be aggressive?
Yeah. How would you not contact your client, maintain communication? I do a lot of the expired calls too, and canceled leads, expired listings. And a lot of times when they talk to me for the first time, they don't even know that their listing had expired. It's been 180 days, and it finally came to that day where it was the last day. Mm-hmm. And then, it shows as red for 2 weeks that they're about to expire. And then they do expire. And then they get a call from a stranger like me saying, hey, by the way, I can list your property. I can get it back on the market. I feature it on my talk show. And they say, oh, well, my agent didn't even tell me. I said, yeah, isn't that sad?
I don't get it. We experience the same thing in the screen enclosure business.
Yeah.
For example, I've already come across situations where I get the deal after the customer had signed with somebody else and heard nothing after the deposit check was written and gone.
Wow.
And I mean, it's common. And then, of course, when we get the deal and we find out there's no permit in process, we realize that whoever took the money, they just basically wanted to get the thing in play with a little bit of money up front. And then all of a sudden, now that client hears from the previous guy.
Right.
And now he's on his knees begging. It's unbelievable. How do you operate like that?
Yeah, exactly.
We see it.
And you do. Now, have you seen also, because when you have these different situations arise, some of the unscrupulous contractors will they take high deposits and just run and not come back?
It's not as common as it was. But what I do see, there's a lot of illicit stuff that goes on in the aluminum business specifically. And I always go back to the movie The Tin Man back in the 60s, Danny DeVito and Richard Dreyfuss. They were out to make money for themselves only. It's a comical movie, by the way.
I got to pull that one up.
Yeah. So what recently, for example, I've seen, and I'll probably get the project. South Tampa has significant setback issues, and pool cages need to be 5 feet all the way around from the lot line. And two of my competitors, who I know, they did not disclose that to the homeowner, basically assuming that the guy would sign up and then bingo, they'd get it into permitting and then break the bad news on them that we can't get it through unless you go for a variance. But they got the deal.
Yep.
Now I go in, I didn't get the deal right away because I explained there's a 5 foot setback.
Yeah.
And he says, nobody told me that. The other guy said 3 foot. 3 foot.
Exactly.
I go, they're incorrect. So we double checked it and found out it's a 5 foot setback. So now he's got to go for the variance process. And in some cases, I lose a job. Yeah. I lose the deal because I have to be honest. I don't want to be anything other than honest. That's why I drive a Buick and not a Bentley, by the way. But that we see that, and I know that the competition knows what the setbacks are. Yeah. But they know they want to get ink on it, get a deposit, so nobody else can take over the job. That's not right. You shouldn't.
And the timing also is another big thing, right? Because we talked about it over the years. By the way, if you just joined us, I'm talking with Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. One of our longest running expert contributors on this program, almost 9 or 10 years now. And I'm your host, Brandon BRimes. But we talk about contracting. We talk about these common misnomers and ideas that people, false, ideas that people may have out there around construction and permitting and things of that nature. But what's one of the other ones that come up a lot?
Well, I ran into one that it was a learning process for us as well. The homeowner must have spent, I'm going to pull a number out of my head, $30,000 to $40,000 on artificial turf on his South Tampa property.
Wow.
It was stunning. It was absolutely beautiful. So I go in, I sign the job up, and I learned from the permitting department that artificial turf is not considered green space.
Not porous.
Well, it is porous. It is permeable. It's, in other words, it will percolate, which in South Tampa, you need 50% percolation on a lot and 25% green space. So he thought he had both because his artificial turf is green. Not a chance. Could not get the permit. And it was a very unfortunate. We took a deposit up front, and this fellow was upset because when he put the turf down, he spent the money on the turf. He checked with the city 4 or 5 years ago, and there was no mention of that.
Yeah.
So we had concrete going in there and everything else. So everybody gave the deposits back. You know, we had time and money spent on it, but we gave the deposits back because we didn't feel it was very fair for the guy.
Right.
But I learned at that point, that artificial turf does not qualify for green space.
Yeah.
It will qualify for percolation.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's interesting, because I would have thought the percolation would be definitely a challenge there, and especially when you think about South Tampa, there are issues that they have when flooding or a big storm comes.
Yeah. Well, there is probably some product that does not percolate very well. However, his product was able to percolate. There is, with artificial turf, you can get different levels of basically drainage.
Yep.
And he chose the best. So you could pour a bucket of water there and it would go right down. It was just probably percolate a little better than if you just had regular grass.
Interesting.
Because there's nothing to hold it back. Underneath the turf is crushed concrete, which allows the water to run through.
Yep.
And I really think that artificial turf is a real plus. But be careful, homeowners, be careful. This is a consumer advocate show.
Yeah.
Before you purchase your artificial turf, make sure that if you're going to put a screen up or something of the sort, make sure that you cover your bases there.
Yeah.
And I see where a lot of people will put the screen up first and then they'll come in with the turf later.
Yep.
And that's fine. It's not like that they're creating a problem or violating a law. Typically, they do connect with the city on that, and you could talk to 4 different people at the city and get 4 different opinions. But you know, it hits the fan once we go for the permit and the artificial turf's there, and we cannot get the permit because of the lack of green space.
Right. Yeah, I could see that being a challenge and people just not having that right idea around what their project's going to encompass, what the delays might be. And we're going to talk more about that on the flip side. When we come back, more with Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, tampascreens.com, tampascreens.com, tampascreens.com. Check them out online. Also, Feel Good Story of the Day coming up as well. Counting on fingers really helps kids improve their math skills by 40%, new study shows. Feel Good Story coming up. More with Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum on the Consumer Quarterback Show, online at consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon BRimes here for AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. My wife and I shifted a lot of our buying habits, and we wanted to support companies that support our values, patriotic, Christian, conservative companies. And you can find that online at AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. Now, what you're doing is you're not spending any new money. You're simply buying a lot of the common purchases that you're buying every month for the kitchen, the bathroom, your shampoos, your laundry detergent, all types of great essential oils, vitamins, herbs, those types of products. And for you beef lovers, we have great beef products as well. Tenderloin, sirloin steaks, grass-fed beef available as well. So check out AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com. And I'd love to talk to you if you have any questions about it. There's also a business opportunity there for you as well. 813-917-1894. And thank you so much for supporting our company, AmericaFirstPatriotStore.com.
Lindsay Rhymes here. My husband Brandon and I own the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams, and our team of seasoned agents is ready to help you buy, sell, invest, and love the life you live here in Tampa Bay. Communication, execution, customer service, and bulletproofing transactions are really where our team shines. We service Hillsborough, Pinellas, Manatee, Pasco, Hernando, and Citrus counties, and we have seasoned agents in residential, luxury land, and commercial divisions. Reach out to us, your Christian realtors, and let us help empower you with the right knowledge to make smart decisions with your next transaction. Call us at 727-263-3707 today. Again, that number is 727-263-3707.
Selling commercial, vacant land, or residential properties? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. You can reach me at 727-263-3707. Call or text 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
Welcome back. Brandon Rhymes in studio with Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. More with him here in just a moment. I want to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Discovery Golf Cars, longtime friends of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Discovery Golf Cars right here in Tampa Bay. They hooked me up with a beautiful Keller Williams Red Easy Go, and they have many makes and models there. DiscoveryGolfCars.com. Check them out online. DiscoveryGolfCars.com. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives just by mentioning that you're a fan of the Consumer Quarterback Show.
Tell me something good.
All right, feel good story of the day. A new study reveals that teaching finger counting methods to young children can significantly improve their arithmetic skills, showing a 40% boost in performance. Conducted by Swiss and French researchers, the study involved 328 5- and 6-year-old kindergartners in France. Over 2 weeks of finger counting training, children who didn't initially use their fingers for math saw their correct responses rise from 37% to 77%. Led by Dr. Catherine, the research aimed to resolve the debate among teachers on whether encouraging or discouraging finger counting. The results exceeded expectations, showing that the training was 75% effective, over 75% of children. Future studies will explore if this is a deeper leads to a deeper conceptual understanding of numbers. And the doctor also hopes to refine the approach to help the remaining 25% who didn't show as much improvement. There you have it, our feel-good story of the day. What do you think, Fred? Counting on fingers for kids or not counting on fingers? I don't know. It used to work pretty good for back in the day, didn't it?
Well, how do you think I do it when I figure out a job?
There you go.
I got 10 here, and sometimes the shoes come off.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. You gotta wear sandals sometimes. So it's interesting, these feel-good stories kind of lighten up the day. And a lot of times, because we hear a lot about, the politics and stuff, of course, in this election cycle that we're going through. But speaking of that, have you seen any challenges with, the supply chain or labor markets? Have you seen challenges there?
Every time I respond, I think I jinx myself. So maybe I should do that in reverse. No, I'm only kidding. Right now, things are good. Okay. What's unfortunate is when a major storm hits, and you never know when that's going to happen. There's always something brewing somewhere this time of the year. When that storm hits, typically the prices change within a week or so because of supply and demand. And the extruders, to be able to make the aluminum, they know it's going to be harder to get. And they're going to push the price up. That's just the way the world works. But at this point, we're good. Right now, we're good. Today. Hopefully in 2 weeks, I'll be able to say the same thing. If I work the show again in 2 weeks, hopefully I will not, rescind on that statement. And labor, in our business, labor is, it's always available. But what you have to realize with a pool cage, if you ever watch these things go up, the custom built ones, like we build them, you wonder how these guys do this. They're out there, it might be 90 degrees and they're touching bronze aluminum, which is well over 100 degrees. And they're up there and they're singing and they're just doing their thing and putting these things together. And when it's done, it's a work of art. So it's a very talented profession. It's not like a guy that's just going to come into the construction business and what do I want to do? I want to do pool cages. Well, you got to start somewhere else. You got to start with framing and learn, this and that and the other. So a lot of the framers, for example, they make a good living. But a lot of the guys that build the cages at one point started out as house framers.
Yep.
Okay. However, the tolerances are so different between house framing and pool cages.
Right.
And I think what happens is the most talented people that are, high IQ talented, they get bored with the framing. That's when they move into the pool enclosure.
There you go.
Construction. And I know a couple of these guys, and I'll tell you something. It's just amazing how well they do it. I mean, I've done some aluminum construction myself, just as a backyard ham and egger. And every job I do, I'm so proud of it. My wife's putting Band-Aids all over me. I'm cutting my hands, right? But that's, these guys, they don't do that. They're so perfect at what they do, perfection.
Yeah.
And Richard and Ricky own the company, father and son. They make sure they stay with their original pool cage guys.
Yeah.
And the pool cage guys, they don't want to go anywhere else. They stay with Tampa Screens. And that's another thing. That's a big plus. Oh, by the way, we recently earned Best of Tampa Bay in the aluminum construction business.
Nice.
So,
Congratulations.
We're doing something right.
Best of the Bay. I love that. That's great. Tampa Screens and Aluminum here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Support the show, support the local economy by supporting the Consumer Quarterback Show and all of our expert contributors. We greatly appreciate everybody. We've seen an uptick in calls lately, too, so we greatly appreciate that. 727-263-3707. Maybe you've been contemplating adding a screen room onto your home, or a friend or family member who may be doing that. 727-263-3707. Call or text the show hotline. We'll put you in touch with Fred Muth. Tampa Screens and Aluminum. TampaScreens.com is the website, of course. And online at consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors, 80 different categories of consumer advocates, helping you for everything from real estate, credit, finance, estate planning, tax planning, of course, great contractors in our network as well, Fred. Now, we like to get to know our expert contributors on a personal basis. What do you like to do in your spare time?
Oh, I sit around and count my money. Just kidding. I have many.
Your hobbies are short, huh?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't take long, right? After 5 minutes, I'm done counting. I pick up the guitar and I start playing.
There you go.
And you're another guy that plays. I know you do.
I do. I play a little bit. Yeah.
You have that Paul Reed Smith. Where do you live? I'm going to steal it.
No, we should do a jam session. We got to do CQBS.
We should. We absolutely. We get this guy in there too.
Yeah. So we get Brandon on a harmonica.
Yeah.
There you go.
How about you? Can you don't play drums?
He can sing a little bit.
Now what are we going to do? We don't have a drummer.
We can make it happen. We'll throw it together.
We had a band one time. We called it the 3/4 band. And, we worked around the Brandon area. People say, why the 3/4 band? I go, three out of 4 guys always show up, and it's always the drummer. we never have another drummer.
That's it. Oh, that's funny. 30 seconds back to you, Fred.
Oh, so since the last time I worked the show, which was a long time, we've been selling a lot more of the hurricane protection panels.
Yes.
As well as the motorized retractable screens.
Yes.
In fact, in the past month, I sold a job of each, and people are extremely happy. I'm very impressed with the motorized screen. You've seen the motorized screens that go up and down.
I love that.
Plug them in, and whatever the size of the lanai is, you can have one panel that goes up and down.
Yeah.
Standard side panels. Interesting. Call us. Give us a call. We'd be glad to come out and give you some information on it.
Reach out. Tampa Screens and Aluminum, TampaScreens.com. Give them a call. And you also have the quarterback show hotline there as well. Hey, another great show. We had Mark Haye. We had Fred Muth, of course, Alex as well in studio with us. We want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, online at consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes. Whether